I'm here in Tema at Dr. Vera Asante's property. It is gorgeous, absolutely beautiful. I love the color combination that she's done here. She has been in the US, or was in the US, for over 30 years and decided to come back to Ghana. Now I want to talk about the transition, the ups and downs, the positives, and why she would encourage you to come back home. Follow me. Hi, Dad! How are you?
I am also, yes.
Oh my God, this house is beautiful.
Oh, thank you.
Okay, show me around, show me around. Can we go around?
Okay, sure. Yeah, so here is the play area for my kids. They're doing online classes. And
Hi.
that's Jaden.
How are you?
Good.
How's Ghana so far?
It's okay.
It's okay? You're enjoying it? Yeah, good, good. So wait, don't go. What's that? What is that you guys' motto? Is this?
It's
A motivational wall slipper.
So it's the motivational wall.
yes.
Wow.
As for me and my house, we will serve the Lord. And then
Uh-huh.
we talk about dancing in the storms.
Wow.
Because our God is bigger than our storms. So
That's
it
amazing.
motivates us every day.
Wow.
Yeah.
Every day you see that.
Yeah.
Okay, can we look at your room?
I hope it's good. Was it right? But yeah, yeah.
Wow.
This is my little abode.
I love it. Hey, Doc, your own little. And you have a sink and everything.
Yeah.
Wow.
I should have cleaned up well.
No, this
today.
is nice.
Yeah.
This is so nice. And it's en suite, obviously.
Yeah,
En
well,
suite.
we have our bathroom here. Please don't take it.
Okay.
At this side, and then my
Walk-in closet.
my walk-in closet here, which is a bit messy.
Wow.
But yeah.
This is
So-
beautiful.
Of course, I've kicked the guy out. This is just my stuff here.
Oh, okay. You kicked hubby out.
Yeah.
This is beautiful. Oh my
Thank
God.
you. Jay, do you want us to come to your room? Is your room clean? Oh, wow. She got it clean.
Is it clean? Let's see.
She tried.
Oh, I love the color. This is
She did all of this by herself. She has her Pinterest board wall. She likes a lot of old 70s, 80s theme stuff. So
Wow. I love the color. It's just so bright and warm.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's really nice. And pictures of the family, you and your brother.
yeah,
Oh.
that's what she missed the most is her cousins. You know, because they all grew up together and she doesn't get to have them. So she doesn't like that. But
So you said you had a similar house in Atlanta, so you just built kind of a similar thing here?
yes, for the most part, yeah. We picked all the things about our house in Atlanta and then just added a few things here and there.
Okay.
But yeah, some of the things that we have in the kitchen, we got it made here.
Okay.
We had chemo do our cabinets,
Okay.
and then everything else it's like kind of brought from the US.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
like our appliances and stuff.
And I've seen, is it snooker? Is that a snooker
Oh,
table?
that's Kwame's play area.
Okay.
Yeah, so
Golf and everything.
Yeah.
And then this space is just...
This space was supposed to be my dining area, but now it's like I've turned it into like because online school
Online
started.
school, yeah. Okay.
They do their classes here, but it's just a little chilling area that like a bar. So because we have the bar here,
Okay.
and so when we have guests and we have like dinner, you can just come get drinks, hang out here, talk.
I love the lightings, the different types of lightings that you got here.
Thank you.
All from the US?
Yes, actually.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Yeah, thank you.
And then this?
This actually got it from Orca.
Oh,
Here.
wow.
Yeah, I got it here in
It's
Ghana.
beautiful. Love the little different art pieces that you have going on.
I love art.
So should we sit down and have our interview?
Yes.
Okay.
Let's go ahead.
All right. Having spent nearly 30 years in the USA, do you think it's the same as moving back as an African American or as a Ghanaian who has spent so many years in the US? I have Vera with me. She left Ghana when she was 11 years old and stayed in the US nearly 30 years and decided to come back home. She's a pharmacist, she has a restaurant, she's into IT, she has done a lot of things. And we're gonna have a conversation about the transition, moving back, about how it was like living in the US. Vera.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here. Obviously, we've tried to get you on the show a couple of times, but finally we're here.
Yes.
But I want to start off with, do you think it's the same as an African American who's never come to Ghana, right? Come in for the first time. Are you lost just as much as that person that has come back, that has no family ties here?
Definitely not. It's not the same because, of course, I have family ties, number one, and this is a familiar territory as well. For them, it's something new. It's more like an adventure for them. Whereas for me, even though it's also an adventure, but it's a bit different because, you know, me personally, even though I've been gone for so long, I believe about maybe 10, 12 years ago, I started reconnecting and coming back. And, you know, every year I made it a point to come to Ghana at least once a year. And so I was connecting with people. I don't have that whole high school, you know, friends, I had secondary school friends, even though I did go to a little bit of secondary school here, but, you know, I've been reconnecting with different people from different backgrounds and also in my field of work and coming back each year. So it's different for me as it would be for an African American, you know, new coming to Ghana or coming to Africa for the first time. I think it's a bit easier for me and a bit more of a familiar territory. So it makes it a little better.
A little bit better.
So,
what made you come back each and every, like from about 12 years ago, you started coming back every year. You said you made it a point to come back. Why did you make it a point to come back? Did you then have a vision that you will eventually move back home?
I think so. I mean, looking back, for me, I think when I left, I was very young, but there's always been this Ghana is home, you know. I believe the first time I came back to Ghana was in 2000, the millennium year. And, you know, it was an exciting time, you know, and when I came back, it was so different from when I left, you know. And there are things that I saw, I was like, oh, they have this in Ghana. Oh, they have this in Ghana. I mean, I think at that time they had the Aqua-J interchange. And I was like, oh my God, it's my first time seeing this in Ghana. So it was really different and it was exciting. And I was like, you know, it's something that I had pictured and envisioned Ghana to be, and it was actually happening. And so it gave me some kind of boost and motivation to even like want to come back. But yes, that from that moment when I came back in 2000, I really enjoyed my time here. I think that was the time I was actually going into pharmacy school, you know, and it was exciting time. So after that year, 3 years later, I visited again, and after that, the people that I connected with, you know, it was very good friendships. So I said, okay, I'll come back each year. But like I said, Ghana has always been home for me, and I think when I even moved back, you know, I was 11, it wasn't my choice, it was my mother's choice. And so I was like, okay, well, let me make my own decision too. So for me, it has been like, okay, I will always come back home. So how do I start? Where do I plan? If I come back, I don't want to be like completely a stranger. So I think that's where it started from me coming back each year to just reconnect with people.
Okay.
Yeah.
What role do you think the diaspora play in terms of development, helping out with the economy of Ghana? What role do you think they play in terms of coming back to the continent?
I don't think the diasporans actually, sometimes we grasp how important it is to come back home, because we sit in the comfort of our homes in the West, and things are so comfortable, like why should I even come? But the contribution that we can, and the impact that we can have on the economy, on the culture, on the people is vast. There's so much we can contribute. For me personally, I went to school, gained so much knowledge, and even before I came to Ghana, I had my own pharmacy, and it's not easy to own a business in America or in the West, and so I was comfortable, and so why should I even move? Why should I even come? But when I think about it and the impact that I can make here, because it's a developing country, it's a developing continent. And so we have so much that we can give back to the continent. And so I think for diasporans, they have to think about the skills and the knowledge that they have acquired in the West and see how they can make an impact here, because we have a long way to go here in Africa. And what they have learned, the skills that they have acquired, if they bring it back home and contribute to the building of the continent, man, we will be...
You'll see a difference, right?
Oh yeah, big difference. It will be a revolution.
Yeah, and I think you mentioned a valid point, which is everything, you're comfortable. You've got your own business. You had your own pharmacy in the US.
Yes.
Okay. You had a big house just like this.
Almost.
Yeah, almost as big as this. And you were okay.
Yeah.
Your kids were there,
Yeah.
your husband
My
is there,
mom.
your mom is there. There was nothing really kind of pulling you because you're getting a good salary. Everything is okay. And I think these are some of the challenges that people have, the comfortability that they have, and breaking that. I mean, there are positives and negatives, which we'll discuss. But was it difficult to get the buy-in of your husband and the kids to finally make that move?
As far as my husband is concerned, I think at some point,
because he's a pharmacist as well.
No, he's microbiology, immunologist. Yes,
yeah.
And when he moved back, he wasn't even thinking about coming back. Like he wasn't, it wasn't part of his, mindset or anything. Until I started drumming it into his head, what are we doing? We can do this, we can do that, So I started getting him thinking, and the first thing that we wanted to do, or as a way of coming back, was we bought a plot of land. With that came his own, wahala with it.
Land situation.
Yeah. You don't even know how many lands that we purchased that went sour, but so we did that. So that was our stepping stone. Okay, that will be our identity to
But going back to lands. What made you still keep buying, and what was the turning point? Because obviously a lot of people are facing land issue, but obviously in the end something worked. You have been able to build.
Yes.
So what would you tell somebody that's trying to buy a land property? What do they have to go through?
Go through a real estate agent or a reputable agency to do it. Because back then, I'm talking about 15 years ago, where every time you buy, you go through a family member or you go through a friend, and then you buy it. And they give you an indenture and we know it means nothing. So for us, it was more okay, we finally got, after 5 trials, we lost a ton of money and lands. Not intentionally, but some of them came later. We thought it was property that we had acquired, and then later find out someone went and took it, or so we were just buying just to buy, to kind of have some kind of property here in Ghana. But it was later on that we found out that we didn't have them. And so when we were able to acquire this land, and this was through a agency or a real estate, someone reputable, and we're like, at that point we're like, okay, let's start, because the reason why we lost some of those lands was because we were so relaxed. We weren't ready to move yet, and we weren't ready to do anything on them. So we just relaxed, and so as I sit there, someone would just go and take it. Yes.
And how was the process? How in terms of lengthwise to get the title for the land, for this land?
For this land, truthfully, I think we just got the title for this particular, but the person that sold it did the due diligence of getting us the registration, but the title part takes a long time.
How long? How long?
I think
1 year, 2
the whole
years?
process took about 2 years when we started. Yeah, I think we started getting serious about actually getting the title for it after we had moved in, and okay, we're settled. So then my husband started working on getting the title for the land. But yeah,
it was a long process. But you finally you made it through.
Yes, we did. Yes.
Okay, so we're talking about the family coming.
Yeah, for me, trying to convince my husband, I think I was able to get him to understand the impact that we can make on the continent, based on the knowledge that we have acquired. What he does, and what I do. Initially, we were really thinking about doing dialysis. We are both in healthcare, and so we had thought about different businesses that we could do. And at the end of it all, we're like, if all things fail, pharmacies, something we can, we know we can do. And so he's like, yeah, that's true. And he's a very easy guy to convince. So that was not hard. It was the kids. But with the kids, I think, I wasn't going to just uproot them here. So we started doing a couple of visits. And the first visit, they loved it. I remember when we went back, and my son, Joshua, had to write a paper for his school. And, he had to write about his summer. And he's like, I had the best summer ever. Wow. And I was like, because I was in Ghana and I did this and I did. I was like, I got some brownie points. So it was then I was like, okay, I think it would be okay for them to come. It would be easy. And then after that, the following year we came again, and they liked it. Now, living here is a different story, but, that was how we were able to, because we always tell them stories. And they always knew that mommy goes to Ghana like every year. Even as, even the year they were born, I came to Ghana. Wow. The following, every year I come to Ghana. So they were excited to know this place that mommy's always going to, and mommy's going to Ghana, So that was the excitement at first for them. And then they came and they liked it, and, okay, we're moving to Ghana. Moving to Ghana wasn't so much of a sell, but, eventually they came around and
they're okay.
Yeah.
So they've settled in. How was it finding the right school for them? How was that process?
Oh, yeah. So one thing I can advise anyone moving to Ghana is with children, it's school. Like, try to live close to where your children are going to school. It's very important. When we were coming, we've had friends that have moved to Ghana, and so of course they give us advice, and I have my cousin also. And so for me, I was like, okay, my cousin and my friend, their kids go to GIS, so I'm gonna put them at GIS, and it was easy. But then I'm like, and then another friend told me, it's like, you live in Tema, how are you gonna commute to Accra all the time? And after one day when I was stuck in traffic
you changed your mind.
I was like, no way, there is no way I'm going to GIS. Like, that was a done deal. So then we have to figure out schools around here, because already we had built the house. Yeah. So now we have to find a school that will fit into our lifestyle, and that is good enough for our kids. And so we looked at different schools around here, and we found a very good school for them. It's one of the top schools here, and the curriculum is, very up there. They have students. It's an international school. So we're very happy with our choice as far as school. And it's like 5 minutes away.
Oh,
so
that's
like
good.
literally, like if it was back in the days, they would walk to school. But of course,
Yeah.
nowadays with these kids,
Yeah.
we have to take them. But it's, it's a walking distance. And
Fantastic.
It made everything so much easier. Yeah.
Fantastic. Well, when we come back from the commercial break, right, we're going to talk about the pharmacy that you built in the US. Okay. And how you've been able to do the same here.
Okay.
And then talk about the cafe that you've also got. So when you come to Ghana, sometimes you find yourself doing 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 different things.
Yes.
And I want to talk about that. When we'll come back, we'll talk about your businesses that you've been able to set here. Not just 1, 2, 3. Okay, we'll be back after the commercial break to talk more to Vera Asante.
Imperial Homes Ghana and Great Britain has carved a niche for itself within the real estate industry as the premier provider of luxury homes in Ghana and England, with a mission to provide safe, good value, modern housing and personalized estate management services to its clients and customers. All our homes meet the Lifetime Home Standard, as well as the highest standards of engineering excellence, safety, environmental sustainability, and cost efficiency. Imperial Homes, a signature of luxury.
With over 1.2 billion people, Africa is a large continent with a rapid economic growth, full of investment and business opportunities. It hosts numerous opportunities for entrepreneurs, businesses, and individuals. As Africa marches towards a better economic future, how do you become part of it? Who can you safely speak to? Where do you start? Think no further. Ordana connects. We have identified the challenges people face in getting the right people and discovering the right opportunities in Africa. Ordana Connects will be the platform where people and businesses seeking opportunities in Africa meet and connect like never before. Ordana Connect. Join our waitlist for early access this summer at www.ordanaconnect.com.
Gooba Card welcomes you to the land of gold, Ghana. The Gooba Card is a unique loyalty card which gives you the opportunity to enjoy discounts of up to 40% on goods and services. You enjoy discounts of the best of hotels, amazing restaurants, beauty lounges, spas, health centers, fashion houses, and shopping centers in Ghana. The Gooba Card can also be used as a prepaid Visa card with Access Bank, our partners, offering you conveniences on all payment platforms. Applications is safe, secure, and valuable. Call us or WhatsApp us on 0245 156 705. Visit www.goobadiaspora.com. Gooba Card, the best discount card in Ghana.
Welcome back from that short commercial break. I'm still joined by Dr. Vera Asante. Doc, what inspired you to be a pharmacist?
Actually, growing up even in high school, I was like the vice president for Future Business Leaders of America. It was a group in my school that I joined. I was so business oriented, right?
Okay.
I was good in math and numbers. So it was more of I was more of a business person. But in '96, right before I graduated from high school, my cousin, he's more like my brother, because we all lived together. He was only 7 years old, and he was diagnosed with, he was sick, actually. Let me just say he was sick. And, at the time, my aunt, who I, kind of like my guardian, because we all lived together, and they didn't have answers. They didn't have a lot of answers, because we always asked, what's wrong with Junior? And they could never tell us, what was wrong.
Is it because they didn't know?
They didn't know. They didn't know, or they didn't understand at the time, because they weren't asking the right questions. Other than, oh, your son is sick. What is wrong with him? For me, it was later on that we found out that he had leukemia, right? but at the time we didn't know what was going on with him. And when I was asking questions, because we know my brother is sick, you know, and like he will go to the hospital for like a week at a time, you know, and then he would come home and he was just getting sicker and sicker, and you know, nobody understood. And so for me personally, I just wanted to understand what was going on with him, you know, at that time. And so every time we went to visit him at the hospital, I saw nurses, doctors, you know, going around, you know, so I was like, you know, these people have the answers. They know what's going on with them. I want to be like them, you know, so I'll go and ask questions. But I at that time, I still didn't know the right questions to ask, right? So unfortunately, my brother passed. He was only 7 when he passed away. And at that point, I was devastated, and I just wanted answers. And I was like, what can I do? I still don't understand what happened to Junior, and I still don't know, you know, how he died. He's only 7, and why did this happen to him? And so I was like, I wanted to be in the medical field. But one thing I don't like is, you know, it's blood, you know, having to deal with blood and all that. But I just still wanted to be, you know, a doctor, and I still wanted to know about medicine, how if we had given him the right medicine, it would have saved his life, or, you know. So that's how, it was my last year in high school that I actually changed my whole major to become a pharmacist. And I, you know, for me, I did it, like when I decided, I was like, I chose a school that I wanted to go to, and I got into that school. And then when I went with the minor as, you know, to major in chemistry, minor in pharmacy, then, you know, do a track in pharmacy, because my goal was to go to the same school, the pharmacy school. It was a very good school. And so,
What school was it?
Virginia Commonwealth University in Richmond, Virginia.
Okay.
And so I went to VCU. I got a chemistry degree as my at my undergrad, and then right after that, I got into pharmacy school, and I went to pharmacy school. My goal was focused, and I did not like even deter from doing that. And so that's when, you know,
That's how you became a pharmacist. And how did you manage to get your own pharmacy in the US?
Oh God, you know, I'm more of a doer. You know,
Wow.
when I envision something and I want to do it, I do it. You know. But more so, the reason why, like the one thing that actually pushed me over, because I had always been thinking about it. I had always been thinking about doing that. I was working for a company, and that particular year, the year before, you know, they push us to do immunization. I'm a certified immunizer, and so at work they.
So are you doing the COVID immunizer for us? Are you involved in?
Yes, actually, I'm a bit advocate for immunization, and you know, I've been doing that. That's part of the things that I've been doing here in Ghana, actually,
fantastic.
with the Pharmaceutical Society of Ghana. And that particular year, you know, they were pushing us to do more flu shot, and so I met with one of the actually, it was random. I was at work, and the guy came to my job. We were getting ready to close, like we're about to close, and he said, "Can I get a flu shot?" And I'm looking at like, "Oh my God, dude, I'm about to close." Like, you know,
I want to go home.
9 o'clock, right? Because you have to prepare. But I was like, it's okay. So I just did it. And so we got to talking, and he was asking me where are you from? And as soon as I said Ghana, his eyes like, oh, wow. It's like, wow, I've met a lot of Ghanaians. They're intelligent people. They're very, you know. So we started talking. It's like, where did you go to school? And then he said, oh, I'm the superintendent for that county where I lived. I was like, for the schools. I was like, oh, wow, amazing. So there's like a light bulb came. I was like, well, you know what? We can come and do like, immunizations for the, teachers at your school. She's like, yeah, that's not a bad idea because we've been doing it for years and we have nurses that come and do it. But, this year I'm not even sure. So let me give you to the nurse supervisor for the school system and then talk to her. So he linked me up with the nursing supervisor. And can you imagine that particular year, me alone, immunized over 2,000 school, teachers, the staff of the county. Because initially it was, for my work, they're pushing us to at least get get 3 places. And this is where we got a whole contract for the whole county. And because I'm very anal about things, I kind of just did it because they gave me a schedule. And so what I did was, I worked it out with my partner, and he didn't want to go do any kind of immunizations anywhere. And I loved, poking. So I went with my technicians, and we went from one school to another, and immunized the staff 2,000 members. Yeah, I got recognized by by my company as the number 1 immunizer, this and that, and I'm like, okay, you make all this money. Where's my cut?
Yeah.
I mean, of course, I wasn't expecting them to give me any kind of money, any huge sum of money, but I wanted them to at least, they did acknowledge it, but I felt like if I could do this for this company, why can't I do it for myself? So then I started talking to myself. Okay, Kwame, I'm going to open this pharmacy. At that point, I had a friend who was already doing that, who was opening a pharmacy. So I was talking to him about the transition, how it is, everything. I think everything kind of worked out at that particular moment. Like God just came through, and I got a good space where there was already it was inside like a grocery store, so there was already traffic there, and I was in a community where I could help people because it was a minority community, very diverse, where we have Asians, Hispanics, Africans, a lot of Africans, Jamaicans, African Americans, and I loved it. I loved being there. I loved the fact that I could help my people, people that are like me. So everything kind of worked out. So that's how, that was my motivation.
That was the turning point.
Yes,
that was a turning point for you.
To get my own pharmacy, and it worked out.
Comparing your lifestyle in the US when you're a pharmacist to your lifestyle here, is your lifestyle better here or was it better in the US?
I think my husband would say something different, but I think, in all honesty, I think it's better here.
Okay.
It's better here. And
would your husband say the same?
I think so too.
Okay.
Yeah. Sometimes I say, oh, US, because the thing about US is that it's comfortable. Anything you don't have to struggle to get things done. Okay. Everything is black and white. There's no gray areas. In Ghana, it's not like that, right? And so that comfortability, it makes you like, okay, that's good. And if you don't want to be challenged, then that's okay. But I'm not the type of person that don't like to be challenged, right? And so this is a challenge for me. Being here in Ghana is a challenge for me, and I'm enjoying it, I'm embracing it, right? But I think my life here is better because let me tell you, so I have my own pharmacy, right? And I'm working. But even to come to Ghana, I have to find a pharmacist to fill in and pay them a lot of money to do that. And even at that point, I can only go for like a week or maximum 2 weeks, right? Because you can't leave your business. There's so much things like legal things and regulations and stuff that is involved in all of that, right? Now you have to make sure that nobody, especially with narcotics and all that, nobody's doing any funny business there. So it was really hard, kind of, and my children, my poor children, I was a businesswoman, and I opened from 9 o'clock to 7 p.m. Monday through Saturday, and I closed 1 day a week, and I was doing it all by myself.
Wow.
So imagine my children, how, thank God I had my mother. My mom is like my backbone. She's my everything. you know, and my sisters, my family. My husband is very supportive of whatever I was doing, and so it made it easier. But you know, it was hard still, like not being able to spend quality time, like a lot of, well, you know, there's difference between quality and quantity. You know, I didn't have a lot of quantity with them, but the times that we had was quality time.
Okay.
So I appreciated that, but it, you know, sometimes you wish you had more time.
But so then in Ghana, you're getting quantity and quality.
Yes.
Okay.
And so
I
that's
like that.
Yes.
I like that.
Yeah.
Quantity and quality time with your family here in Ghana. So we're going to go for a commercial break, and then we're going to talk about living in Ghana, the businesses that you have, and how it's going, and what is next. Okay. All right. We'll see you guys after the commercial break.
Imperial Homes Ghana and Great Britain has carved a niche for itself within the real estate industry as the premier provider of luxury homes in Ghana and England, with a mission to provide safe, good value, modern housing and personalized estate management services to its clients and customers. All our homes meet the Lifetime Home Standard, as well as the highest standards of engineering excellence, safety, environmental sustainability, and cost efficiency. Imperial Homes, a signature of luxury.
GPhA Card welcomes you to the land of gold, Ghana. The GPhA Card is a unique loyalty card which gives you the opportunity to enjoy discounts of up to 40% on goods and services. You enjoy discounts of the best of hotels, amazing restaurants, beauty lounges, spas, health centers, fashion houses, and shopping centers in Ghana. The GPhA Card can also be used as a prepaid Visa card with Access Bank, our partners, offering you conveniences on all payment platforms. Applications is safe, secure, and valuable. Call us or WhatsApp us on 0245 156 705. Visit www.gubadiaspora.com. GPhA Card, the best discount card in Ghana.
With over 1.2 billion people, Africa is a large continent with a rapid economic growth, full of investment and business opportunities. It hosts numerous opportunities for entrepreneurs, businesses, and individuals. As Africa marches towards a better economic future, how do you become part of it? Who can you safely speak to? Where do you start? Think no further. Ordana connects. We have identified the challenges people face in getting the right people and discovering the right opportunities in Africa. Ordana Connects will be the platform where people and businesses seeking opportunities in Africa meet and connect like never before. Ordana Connect. Join our waitlist for early access this summer at www.ordanaconnect.com.
Doc, would you say it's more lucrative in America, what you were doing, to what you are doing here in Ghana?
So Ghana, I've just started,
right?
So I can't really tell, like I'm not at the point where, I think for the pharmacy I started about a year ago, and for the cafe it's just only been 6 months. So I'm not at the point where I can say like I'm making money, but I'm comfortable, right?
Okay.
I'm not, you know, I'm not breaking bank, but
you're not going for a loan.
Yeah, I'm not. No. So, but of course, America, any business, because of the, you know, how the economy is, you know, it's good money.
It's good
there,
money.
yeah.
Okay.
But I think the potential to make more
Is in Ghana.
It's better here in Ghana. I think I can see the potential in what I'm doing, and I can see, you know, and sometimes for me in particular, it's not so much about the money part, but the impact as well. So for me, I think I look at that all around, you know, it's not just one-sided. I'm here to make money, but I'm here to make an impact. You know, whatever I'm doing, I want it to be making a difference.
Making a difference. Yeah. Okay, so how was it like setting up the business, the pharmacy? You know, what were some of the red tapes that you had to cross to get to where you are now, 1 year on?
Yeah. So for my particular pharmacy, actually, I'm not doing a regular retail, and that's one thing I said, because, you know, in Ghana, everywhere you turn, there's a retail pharmacy, and I was like, so am I going to be that one, you know, another retail pharmacy? I didn't want to do that. So my pharmacy is a compounding pharmacy, it's a specialty pharmacy, and what that means is that we customize medicine to fit your needs, right?
Oh.
Yeah. So if we're actually working with a couple of the hospitals around where, you know, I don't know if you know about the Novartis bringing hydroxyurea for Ghanaian sickle cell patients. In Ghana.
Okay.
The medicine only comes as pills, as, you know, capsules. And so for the little kids, they cannot swallow that, like a newborn baby, they cannot swallow that. And so how do we make it feasible for them to be able to take it for the pediatric? So we convert that pill into liquid, into a solution, so that they can take it. You know, if like the doctor needs something for acne or, you know, dermatology, and, you know, something doesn't come readily available on the market, we can mix like different kinds of antifungal, antibacterial steroids put together and give it to a patient to take, because, or to use, because it's not readily available. But it's already commercially available items or drugs, and then we just put it together. To, you know, and also dosage wise, maybe a dose comes as one strength, and, you know, the doctor needs the patient to take a lower strength or a higher strength, then we have to do the calculation and come up with the dosage that will fit the patient. And we also kind of flavored medicine, so antibiotics for kids. That doesn't taste good. We have different flavors that we, you know, we can put banana, strawberry, grapes, what have you, and flavor it for the kids to take. And they can either bring their own antibiotics, and we flavor it for them, or we, you know, buy it from us, and then we flavor it for them. So that's something different that we're doing.
That's very different. Yeah. Are you the only type of pharmacy doing that, or is there several?
At the moment, I believe so, because I think when I went to FDA to get accredited for it, you know, she had mentioned there's like another one, but it has not been completed yet. But yeah, I think I'm the only one.
Wow, that's amazing.
Pharmacy. And I want to take it further, doing TPNs.
You're doing TPNs as well?
Not yet, but I
that's what you want to do.
Yes, I want to take
the lipids. I'm trying
to assess the market and see how things go, and then, you know, because I just, like I said, I don't want to just practice pharmacy. I want to make an impact on different
but
things.
Even when you do the TPNs, you're going to have to train the nurses on how to,
of course,
put on the TPNs and stuff, and how to even store it in the fridges, or is it going to come straight from the pharmacy to the hospital at the time that they need it? Otherwise,
it's probably going to come straight from the pharmacy, because we have to worry about storage.
The storage, the temperature of the lipids, the TPNs.
So it's
but that's I mean, that's fantastic. The fact that, like you said,
and then we do wholesale, mainly to wholesale pharmacy. So
all right. And how do you see the pharmacy industry?
So in Ghana, the pharmacy industry is so business oriented. That's how I see it. It's all about business, and even I fight with my pharmacists all the time, and my staff. Like, you know, when I want to do things, like, Madam, I had you know, Madam, this is not how it goes in Ghana, and I'm like, well, it doesn't matter, because I'm more of a patient-centered care, you know, in the community. You know, I feel like pharmacists are frontline, you know, the first healthcare worker that you see when you're sick.
That's true.
And, you know, we have turned our profession into business, and, you know, I'm trying to get them to change the narrative and change the mindset. It's an uphill battle.
Wow. And
it's going to be a while where anybody will even embrace it, because, you know, it's hard. You know, the people are struggling even to keep their businesses, and so for you to come tell them, go and do immunization, go and do this, go and do,
They don't want to hear
that's
it.
not what they're thinking about. They want their money, you know, and so, but I think there are some people, and this is part of the reason why we need more diasporans here. This is part of the reason why we need more professions here, because together we can all change the narrative of how things are working. And, you know, it's been done in the West and it's working. Why can't we do it here?
Yeah, absolutely.
You know? So
right.
I think.
So that's something that you're an advocate for, trying to encourage.
Yes. For the past 3 years or 4 years, I've been coming to Ghana as a speaker for Pharmaceutical Society of Ghana, advocating for pharmacists, extended pharmacist roles in the community setting. So in the community setting, let us not just be, you know, pill counters and drug sellers, you know, but also more patient-centered care, extending our roles into MTM, extending our roles as diabetes educators, extending our roles as immunizers, you know, especially for the immunization part. I've had a couple of presentations that I do at the annual general meeting and talking about extending our roles as immunizers.
Wow, that's fantastic. What's the name of the pharmacy?
Wellcheck Pharmacy. It's the same pharmacy I had in the US. I just
Wellcheck Pharmacy.
Wellcheck Pharmacy, yes, in Tema.
Okay, fantastic. Then you started the cafe.
Yes.
What made you start the cafe?
Oh God. I keep talking about the comfort of, you know, US and stuff, you know, living here in Tema. And like, if I wanted to have like some good coffee or a good smoothie, I had to go to Accra. And I hate traffic, you know. So it's like every time I go to Accra, I'm going to like, you know, Second Cup or whatever. I was like, well, why can't we have that here? Because I don't see any, especially on this side of town. And so, you know, it was an opportunity. And believe it or not, you know, my family, they are not surprised that I have a restaurant or I have a cafe, because cooking is my passion. I love cooking.
Wow.
Right. And anything. So for me too, I wasn't surprised that I ventured into, you know, this. And so it was during the lockdown, the space became available right next to the pharmacy actually. And I was like, you know, being bored. So it was even at this house that I started. So I started with, okay, we're juicing because we're staying home eating a storm. I'm like, I mean, we're going to be like elephants by the time this lockdown was over. So let's, you know, try to do some healthy. And everything that I do, I want to add something to it. So I was like, okay, how can, even if I want smoothie and even if I want coffee or even I want something that is also healthy. I want something that is natural. So I started coming up with different recipes for juices, right? And we're making it, and the kids love it. I will juice some spinach with kale and, you know,
That's my favorite. When you sent me that, I was like, this is the one.
Yeah.
Even the kids loved it. It's nice and sweet.
And you would not think like, you know, it's
nice
good,
and sweet.
but it's very healthy, good, you know, phytonutrients, you know, you're getting a whole meal in a juice. And so I was like, you know, I was doing that. And because it was during the lockdown, I'm like, okay, I could do this at home and just, you know, put it on Instagram and sell it, or, you know, but then I wanted to extend it. So for my cafe, it's like Starbucks meet Panera, you know, meet tropical smoothie. I don't know. I kind of culminated all together to make sandwiches, quick on the go snacks, lunch, you know, food, and healthy as well. So it's more of, we have smoothies, we have coffee, we have juices, and then, you know, sandwiches, you know, to go.
And what did you call that business? What did you call the cafe? Greenleaf.
Greenleaf Cafe, yes.
This is a smoothie. Guys, I don't even know which one to start off with, which one to finish off with. But guys, you have to come to Greenleaf. Even if you don't live in Tema, she does deliveries. All you have to do is order. Let's support our own. Make sure that whenever you come to Ghana, you come here and taste this wonderful food. The chicken's on point, the salad's on point. Everything is just on point. The smoothies, the shakes, everything. So make sure you come to Greenleaf.
I like it.
I know my crew's jealous as well.
The name comes from one of my favorite shows. But
not just your favorite show, excuse me. I sat down and watched a whole 12 episodes of Greenleaf in one night. So I was up the whole night literally watching Greenleaf. So
yeah.
I understand why you chose Greenleaf.
Yeah, yeah. But you know, there's more to it. You know, green means, you know, beginning, you know, fresh, revival, and growth, you know. And I feel like that's what it is for me here, for people in Tema, you know, with this business. And so the name kind of resonated, and I was like, I'm sticking to it. So,
and how's it been so far? I know you started during the lockdown, but how was it?
Yes, I started during lockdown, and when the ban was lifted, I was like, okay, we'll start doing. But it's been good. It's been people, you know, people are patronizing, like, and when people come there and they see what we're doing, they're like amazed and like they love it. Like, we have a lot of diasporans that come. Actually, we have some African Americans that live at Pam at the ancestral village. Then they come and they're like, oh, I miss this.
Oh, wow.
Like, yeah, I miss that. And I'm like, yeah, that's the feeling I want to do again. And then we have some keto products as well. So a lot of things that you can't easily get here in Ghana. I have them.
Fantastic.
You know, so I've mixed it all in, you know. All the things I couldn't get. Now
you have
I have access to it, so that I'm extending my you know, access to everyone else here in this area. So
I like the fact that you mentioned that, you know, things that you couldn't get in Ghana, you brought it to Ghana. So, you know, sometimes we see a lot of challenges in Ghana. You're complaining all the time. Oh, I can't. Maybe I miss Starbucks. You've made your own special Starbucks, you know, and so that's the one thing that I want to encourage the diasporans, is that when there is challenges, there's opportunities for you to make an impact, you know. So I'm so glad that you've been able to fill that gap in, and it's in your area, so you don't have to always think about Accra. You know, you can think about the particular area that you live in and do that as well. So kudos to that. And then, so how is it managing staff, customer service, and all of that?
So one thing I pride myself in, whether it's at the pharmacy or at the cafe, is customer service, because we lack that in Ghana. Like, it is.
It's not there.
It's like one of my biggest, you know, challenges being here. It's, you know, like dealing with people that are so entitled and feel like they're doing you a favor for you to patronize them or to patronage, like buy something from them. And so one thing, like the first thing I told my staff is customer service. I don't care if they are wrong. The customer is always right. I remember we had a situation where someone ordered coffee, and I guess she wanted the sugar on the side, and then my staff put the sugar inside. And so she complained, she called and she said, oh, the coffee, because it was delivery customer. And so we delivered, and then she called later and said, well, she didn't want the sugar inside. And so I was like, that's okay, we can make you new coffee. She said, oh, okay, well, I don't want coffee. Since it's the same price as a smoothie, can I get smoothie? I said, yeah, no problem. No problem. And she was shocked.
Because usually Ghana, they won't do that.
They would not.
Listen, I ordered something, it was a wrong thing, and they wouldn't bring me the right thing. They're like, oh, sorry, madam. But no, bring me what you're supposed to bring me. You know?
And I think that's them from the owners also, like taking money from their paychecks or something from the employees, that you know, if something, you mess up on something, then you're going to pay for it. No, I don't think that is right, because then you're not promoting customer service, because if the person
does
make
something
a mistake,
wrong,
they hide it, you know, whereas you can rectify the problem, but you're making them, you know, conceal that whole problem, and it's not good image. And so for me, I've told my staff, you know, of course, I will have a talk with you. Next time, just listen. Make sure you hear the person. Make sure you take detailed information on what. And we train and retrain and retrain. But at the end of the day, customer service, like the customer is always right. Whether it's at the pharmacy or, you know, just make sure you're doing the right thing. And I think my customers appreciate it, and that keeps them coming, you know. So I like, if you're looking for customer service.
Greenleaf is number one, and Wellcheck Pharmacy is number one. But you know, Vera, it's been lovely talking to you today. We've gotten a lot of inspiration out of your journey, which is really, really good. But one advice, look into that camera, that you would give a diasporan who is still, you know, thinking, I don't know if I want to come. Ghana's not developed yet. You know, when is it going to be developed? Maybe when it's developed, then I come. What would be your advice to them?
You know, make that decision and come, right? But as you're coming, lower your expectations, because you're never going to get everything that you had, the comfort, the flexibilities, the things that you're so used to. You're never going to get all of them. But what you get is also different. Like, I have a stress-free life, really, right now. Even doing all the things that I'm doing, you know, with my different, you know, companies, I still have a stress-free life compared to where I had one business and I was so stressed all the time. And so make that decision, but lower your expectation. And then when you come, just embrace what is on the ground. Embrace it. The opportunities are vast. You can take your passion, whatever passion that you have, and make an opportunity out of it, and have a business running. And so do make that transition. Do come and just try to manage your expectation into not. There are no gold, I mean, this is the Gold Coast, but there are no gold hanging on trees or laying anywhere for you to come. Everything that you're gonna get, you're gonna work hard for it. And it's easy to do it. It's hard, but it's also easy and it's attainable. So come, the challenges are here, you'll manage it, you'll overcome it, but at the end of the day, you'll be so happy, you'll have a fulfilling life, and you know that you've made an impact in the lives of your fellow Ghanaians or on the continent. So, yeah.
You'll have a fulfilling life and you'll make that impact. I think that's something that you need to stick to. Guys, I will see you next week, same time. God bless.